Billy Beige here, and I wanted to talk about the Hiya Toys pre-orders that we don't have in hand. If you've been keeping up with it right now, whether it be the most recent or from all the way at the beginning of the year, we have 12 pre-orders that we do not have in hand yet. And I'm not counting the Skull Crawler or anything else it has where it's gotten into like a reviewer's hand and we've gotten to see it. Um, I'm going off things that like have not made it to anyone's hands yet. They're still in production that have had recent adjustments and other things like that. But please like, share, and subscribe. If this video is interesting, helpful, or whatever, please give it a like. I'd like to get like to 100 likes on this video. It's it's a foot mark for this kind of video I do here. But so back in April, I did a video. Back then, the number of like kaiju figures they had for the MonsterVerse and Godzilla line there was 21 figures and 10 of them were Godzillas. Now, December 2024, they're up to 31 kaiju figures and 15 of them are Godzillas. Now, I bring up those numbers because for every Godzilla figure they sell, they can make another named kaiju. But Godzilla is the cornerstone of this toy line. Without Godzilla, you don't get Kong. Without Godzilla, you don't get Shimu. For every figure they make, they have to sell a Godzilla. And so far, they've been very successful with it. First things first, making a toy, just so everybody's on the same page, it requires sculpting, prototyping, production, packaging, and delivery. Those five things take about a year to a year and a half for that figure to go from, a dream to in your hands. Now, for a repaint, especially from Hiya, it seems like they go for about like 5 to 6 months for a repaint. So they already have the tooling and everything done for a figure to get a second one out there, whatever kind of adjustments they may have to do, stuff like that, to get a different paint job there is 5 to 6 months after they announce it. These are some of the metrics I'm going off there. Another thing to keep in mind with this is quarter one of every year from the 29th to the 12th of February, well, 29th of January to the 12th of February is Chinese New Year. A week prior to that, and about a week after that, you can also kind of black out there too because they're letting them out of the factory and then they're coming back to the factory. This has where it affects production and it also affects shipping. So just knock out the 22nd to the 19th of February basically because nothing's getting done right then. When they're coming back, they're going to catch up on like production, they're going to catch up on shipping. Prior to that, they're kind of laxing on production and they are cramming shipping as much as they can before that. So, with quarter one, keep that in mind. It also affects these time frames we're going for here. But let's go over what figures we have that we have not seen yet, that have where they are not in hand, that are still in various stages of production, etc. So from beginning year to now, we have Godzilla 1991. We have Evolved Godzilla from Godzilla X Kong, Shimu, 1991 Ghidorah, Heat Ray 1991 Godzilla, Kong from Godzilla X Kong, which that 2001 Godzilla, 1999 Godzilla, or Millennium Godzilla. So funny it was 1999. Kong Beast Glove, still waiting on him. Mecha Godzilla 2, Godzilla 2002, and I'm counting it because it still has where it's an articulated basic figure, even though it's now the new line of Basic Plus, the Heat Ray Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Kong that was just announced. Just to go over them all, these are the 12 figures that we do not have in hand yet. They're still on pre order for whatever reason. Now, the 2024-2025 Hiya announced release times for all these figures. So, going down the line here, what we should have this quarter from October to December that we're already in is just about to end. They had where they said that we would have Godzilla 1991, the Hokkaido version there, Godzilla Evolved, and Shimu. This was at the very beginning when they were announced. Of course, Godzilla Evolved has gone through a lot of different kind of engineering and sculpting changes since it was announced. We haven't heard anything on Shimu having any kind of like change up or anything like that, and so far no one's noticed anything. And I think it's just the size of the figure. And Godzilla 1991, it was their first foray into actual like suit stuff. Suit kaiju versus CGI kaiju. They had to work more into that. Quarter one of 2025, what we're supposed to get: King Ghidorah 1991, Heat Ray Godzilla 1991. That's the Hokkaido version with just the heat ray and different color spines there. And Kong, we're supposed to get in quarter one from January to March. It's really not looking like that. Quarter two, April to June, we're supposed to get Godzilla 2001, Godzilla 1999, and also Kong Beast Glove. And then quarter three, originally, again, this is off when they first announced it: Mechagodzilla 2, Godzilla 2002, and the basic plus Heat Ray Godzilla. That's what we were supposed to get July to September of this coming year. Realistically, it does not look like that's going to happen at all because we're already like a quarter off with some of this stuff. So, what do I think is actually going to happen? What it's looking like now for quarter one of next year? More than likely, it'll probably just be the Hokkaido 1991 Godzilla. That's probably what we're gonna get. Either, hopefully, it'd be really cool to get it early January, but more than likely, I'm betting it's gonna be the end, like March is when that's gonna start hitting people's hands, whether it be direct ship from China, so it's airmail, or on a ship, container ship over to actual like Big Bad Toy Store, stuff like that, late March. That's what I think for the 1991 Godzilla. Next, Godzilla Evolved, because there was so much going on with like how they've like redone the figure, redone the back, redone the arms, all the stuff they've done with that figure, which is fantastic. I am okay waiting for something that will be awesome and worth my money. It's looking like that's probably going to be quarter two. And again, I'm going off, it takes a year to make an action figure. Just going off a year. If they had done it from when they had originally announced it, if it came out like when they originally announced it, it would have been here by now. But since they did so many changes to it, you kind of like restart that clock on like when with sculpting and prototyping there, and it kind of reels it back. So I think it's going to be April to June, quarter two of 2025 for Godzilla Evolved. Shimu's on track for a year from where it was supposed to be. Originally, they said Shimu was gonna be quarter four. Quarter four is here now. Not seeing it. We've seen the resin prototype at Wonderfest. It it looks good. It looks all together. We'll see what happens. Heat Ray Godzilla. Until we get that Hokkaido Godzilla, that first version, I don't think we're going to have that repaint. But they could be possibly working in tandem there to have where it's like, hey, we get this figure out here, keep going, we'll get the paint, like the repaint going already. It's a possibility. Quarter three, July to September, Kong's looking like that, just going a year off of like when it was announced. It falls into like July, September. Godzilla 2001, it's falling in the same line there. It has where it's a completely new mold for Godzilla. It's it's a year. Godzilla 1999, same story. It's a year. Thankfully, there's been no kind of like issues or anything with it, so it seems like it would just be into production from the sculpting, uh, from the prototyping, and just be on its way. There should be no problems with it. Now we get into like the late stages of 2025. This is where it gets a little iffy. So I I think Kong Beast Glove should come out then because again, it's 85% the same figure as Kong. I do not think they would release Kong Beast Glove, even though like 85% of the figure's done. They would release it in the same quarter as Kong because you want to sell all those units of Kong first. Then you put out Kong Beast Glove, you sell all those units of Kong because there are definitely people who saw where like, here's Kong. Oh, that's awesome. That's fantastic. Wonderful. And then Kong Beast Glove was announced what like a couple months later. Yeah, Kong was in August and Kong Beast Glove was in November, the very beginning part of November. Some people would be like, "Oh, I just want the Beast Glove." You don't want to have where you just kind of like stick your retailers and yourself with a figure that people might choose another one over, just think it's better version. So I don't think it's going to be in the same quarter there. I do think with the basic plus Heat Ray Godzilla, it could come out towards the end of 2025 in quarter four. But since it has where a lot of it is the same sculpt that we've had, several times over here, just with the added like lights in there, I'm not saying that doesn't require new tooling, but I'm saying that it shouldn't be too much extra engineering to have where it's like, hey, we got to redo this, we got to do that. Really, it's just like redoing that tail, redoing that main body, redoing that head. The arms are the same, the legs are the same, the joints are the same kind of setup there. It's just getting those wired LEDs through there and have where they run on a sequence. So I'm leaning towards quarter four to be sure, but it could come out in quarter three. Now, Mecha Godzilla 2. Oh boy, Mecha Godzilla 2. Because we had where we were shown Mecha Godzilla 2 in November 21st of 2024. We were shown it then, and people did not like it because it was elongated. It wasn't shaped right. Proportions were kind of weird. They had where they announced that they were going to adjust and optimize Mecha Godzilla November 25th. And just this past week, on December 20th, they announced, and they also showed like a new digital sculpture of it, that they're nearing the final product with it, where they're getting to like what these images will be and what will actually get in hand there. So, really, that's back to the sculpting right there. That's starting that stage again. And I'm going off. It takes a year. So if it's basically almost like at the beginning parts of that sculpting to the prototyping there, we're looking at another year. It's an all unique sculpt. So it could be quarter four of 2025 or longer into like the beginning part of 2026. And the same thing with Godzilla 2002, because when Godzilla 2002 was announced, people had where they did not like the way it looked, they did not like the way his head looked, they did not like stuff, and then it was announced that that's also getting readjusted and optimized. And we haven't seen any kind of like re-render of it or final images of that before it goes into prototyping and then production and everything. So again, I think Godzilla 2002 will also be quarter four 2025 going into 2026. And I know these times do sound bad. It sounds bad because you're like, a lot of us are used to where it's like, hey, a toy is announced, and then like the next week, the next month is like when you can like pre-order or actually have it like in hand, or have where like a lot of things like Mezco, well, Mezco is supposed to be like this, where they'll be like, hey, it's in stock. Here's the pre-order. Boom, it cuts off. Here's the figure. It's coming to you. Yeah. I'm not saying that you shouldn't feel like anxiety or like want your figure as soon as possible, but I'm saying there's a lot of figures out there that have where they are done like Hiya Toys here. And I gotta say, I do like Hiya Toys. I do like the company they have where they listen to the customer and they're good about communicating with us. Another company like that is the Four Horsemen, Mythic Legions. Same kind of thing. They're good at communicating production, production times, when things are going to get there. They update when they can. Um, but going off that, let's see here. November of 2023 is when the Rising Suns wave for Mythic Legions was announced. Now, um, it's expected to be in hand. Let's see here on their production update page. Rising Suns. So that was 2023 of November. It is now done up to, it is in pre-production and is expected mid 2025, and that is a year and a half later, and that is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 12 figure wave right there. 11 figure wave and accessory set. That is 11 figure wave and accessory set, and it takes a year and a half for 11 figures right there that were announced at the same time. Some people are used to it. I'm not saying get used to it, but I'm saying just be open and just be realistic about wait times with some of these figures. And thankfully, Hiya Toys do communicate with us. They do let us know when they're updating something, and they do listen to feedback. But tell me what you think down in the comments below. What figures do you have pre ordered? What figures did you not pre order because you're already waiting on other figures? And I hate to say it, that's one of those things that has where it lowers production numbers. And when they actually do get into like stock at a store or things like that, they're going to have less figures in stock for you to try to buy then. So, as much as it pains some of us to like try to get those pre orders in, get it in if it's a figure you really, really want and you feel like you couldn't live without, because there's a chance you may miss out on it in the long run if you don't. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. I've been me, Billy Beige. I hope y'all have a wonderful holiday, a fantastic new year, and I'll see you next time. Later, guys.